Sour Patch Kids Tricksters. Looks pretty tasty. Ooh, 3 in 1. Wow. That is pretty good. Wait a second. Hey there, y'all. Didn't see you there. Welcome on back to the Mountain Man, and welcome back to Spooky Story Sunday. It's been a long damn time. This awesome series has finally returned now for the 2025 spooky season. And, well, not much has changed. Roadside, I'm a little bit more spooky this time around. I got my orange hat, got my little ghost friend in the background. Well, of course, I have a spooky story, and I wrote it out this time. I'm not just going off the top of my head. I actually wrote out a story. And this one is called Shadows Beneath Devil's Backbone. So, yeah, I'll read it to y'all. And, well, it should be a hoorah-rific time. Boo-rah-rific, even. They called that ridge Devil's Backbone, a jagged line of stone that clawed across the Appalachian hills, like the spine of some buried monster. Locals said the name came from the miners who tried to carve through it back in the 1940s. They said the mountain fought back. Most folks around the valley didn't talk much about the backbone anymore, not since the apple farmer's boy vanished up there a few winters back. People said he got lost in the fog. Others said he wasn't alone. Jack Mercer had heard all these stories. He'd been a park ranger in Boone County for 30 years, seen his share of strange tracks and lights that didn't make sense. But what got him to lace up his boots and climb that ridge again wasn't curiosity, it was guilt. His younger brother, Cal, had gone missing up there in 1987. Jack had never found him. And when a new batch of reports came in, missing livestock, shattered apple trees, and the sound of something screaming like a train, Jack figured it was time to face the mountain again. He didn't plan to go alone. Clara Boone was a wildlife photographer from Charleston. She'd made a name for herself chasing stories of rare animals. Black panthers in Kentucky, albino elk in Tennessee, but she wasn't just chasing photos anymore. She was chasing proof, something that would definitely make people believe her father hadn't been crazy when he said he'd seen a giant man covered in hair by Devil's Backbone in 1972. When Jack called and said he was heading up there for one last look, she insisted on coming along. "If it's what you think," she said, "you'll need someone who knows how to document it." He grumbled, but didn't argue. They met in the old diner by the gas station, the one where the coffee tasted like burnt pine and the waitress still smoked behind the counter. She handed them their pie with a warning. Wonder what that warning was. "You two don't want to go poking around up there after dark. That thing don't like to be looked at." Jack gave a tight nod. "We won't be long." But the look she gave him said she'd heard that before. By the time they reached the tree line, fog had started to settle. The woods around Devil's Backbone were thick. Ancient pine, black oak, and moss-covered stone that looked like sleeping giants. Jack moved with purpose, reading the land the way other men read books. Clara trailed behind, snapping photos of claw marks on trees, tracks too deep for a bear. At one point, she crouched beside a half-eaten deer carcass. The ribs had been cracked open, marrow sucked clean. She shivered. "Coyotes?" she asked. Jack shook his head. "Coyotes don't pull the legs off." They made camp near an old fire tower that had half collapsed under the weight of years. Rust streaked the ladder. The air smelled of rain and iron. Clara set up her traps while Clara set up her camera traps while Jack fixed a small fire. The flames licked the cold air, snapping quietly. He handed her a tin mug of coffee and said, "You ever hear about the miners?" She looked up. "The ones who disappeared?" 18 of 'em, 1949. Said the mountain swallowed them up. Search crews said the tunnels were full of air that moved, like wind through lungs. 18 of 'em. Oh, wait. She frowned. "You mean breathing?" He stared into the fire. "That's what they said. Said they heard something moving in the rock, big as the ridge itself." Clara smiled uneasily. "Sounds like one hell of a tall tale." "Yeah," Jack said. "That's what my brother said, too." Just after midnight, something woke them. A snap, like a branch breaking. Then another, closer this time. Jack sat up, rifle in hand. The forest had gone silent except for the whisper of fog. Clara switched on her infrared camera. The screen showed only shades of black and gray, until something massive moved at the edge of view. Two glowing orbs blinked back. Eyes. "Jack," she whispered, "it's right there." Before she could finish, a sound rose through the forest, a deep, bone-shaking howl that echoed off the ridge and rolled down into the valley. Birds erupted from the trees. The camera feed glitched, static flickering across the screen. Then the smell hit them, a mix of wet fur and rot. The breathing came next. Jack motioned for silence, moving slow toward the firelight's edge. The fog parted, and for half a second he saw it. Broad shoulders, thick fur glistening with dew. Hands, not paws. The outline of a face too human to be a bear's, and too wrong to be a man's. He froze. The thing tilted its head, nostrils flaring, and sniffed the air between them. Then it stepped back into the darkness. At dawn, they followed its trail. Overturned stumps, prints as big as shovels, and something else. Apples. Half eaten, scattered through the brush. "Guess he's got a sweet tooth," Clara muttered, snapping photos. Jack knelt, studying the ground. "He's collecting them," he said quietly. "Not just eating. Look, he's bringing them back uphill." The prince led them to a gash in the ridge, a narrow crevice leading into blackness. The smell grew stronger. Inside the cave, they found piles of apples, rotten, molded, dozens of them. And bones. Deer, raccoon, maybe even human. Clara raised her camera. The flash popped. Something moved deeper inside the dark. A growl rolled out of the tunnel, low and thunderous, followed by the echo of heavy steps. Jack grabbed Clara's arms. "Out. Now." They ran, stumbling over rocks, bursting into daylight just as something slammed against the cave wall behind them. Dust rained from above. When they looked back, a huge shape filled the mouth of the tunnel, eyes burning, chest heaving, and in one massive hand, another apple. It brought the fruit to its face and sniffed it, slow, almost gentle, before crushing it in its palm. Then, for one breathless moment, it stared straight at Jack, and the look wasn't rage. It was recognition. They made it back to town by sunset, silent the whole way. Clara uploaded her footage that night, but every frame of the creature came out warped, as if the air itself had bent around it. Jack returned to the ridge one last time, a week later. He left a crate of apples at the base of the fire tower, just like the ones he and his brother used to pick for their mother when they were kids. When he came back the next morning, the crate was empty, and beside it, pressed deep into the mud, was a single handprint, the size of a skillet. The size of a skillet. Clara still visits the valley every fall. She says she hears it sometimes, a heavy breath in the fog, a low moan between the trees. And every year, when the apples ripen and the wind turns cold, the farmers at the edge of Devil's Backbone wake to find half their orchard stripped bare overnight. They say it's the bears, but if you stand by the ridge after dark and listen real close, you might hear the crunch of footsteps, slow, heavy, and human, moving through the trees. And somewhere out there, just beneath the mountain's stony spine, something still breathes. The end. Well, y'all, I guess it's for you to decide what the hell creature this was, eating all the apples. I myself think it must have been some sort of Bigfoot. They just, it keeps saying in the story that it's very, human-like. So, I don't know. Not a bear, but not quite a man either. I've heard that before. That certainly sounds like Bigfoot to me. I really couldn't read it all that great, though. It's pretty darn dark out here, but I got the old flashlight shining on me, and that's all I was using for lights. Well, that and the damn ghost over there. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed tonight's spooky story. And of course, every Sunday coming in October, not every other Sunday, but you know what I mean, every single Sunday, there's only 4 of them this year in 2025, I will be doing a spooky story at night. So yeah, look forward to more. But this was the Mountain Man's Spooky Story Sunday, week 1. Look forward to week 2 next Sunday. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Happy Halloween, and boo-rah, we gonna catch some monsters.